You have just received some of the best news of your life and you're ready to announce, honey, pack it up, we're moving to Texas. I've been able to help many families just like you relocate to the Lone Star State. And with that, I've heard, some interesting things that people believe about living in Texas. One of which is everyone in Texas rides a horse. Well, many of us have ridden horses before, yes, and many own horses, but that is not our primary mode of transportation. We do have cars here in Texas. The other thing I've heard of is there's so many people who own ranches. There are a lot of people who do own ranches. That depends on where you are in the state. But what is not true is that we are unsophisticated, uneducated, or unrefined. So if you have any sense of nervousness because you've heard of these things, then you're going to want to watch this video. In this video, I'm going to debunk 4 myths that you may have heard that will help you ease your mind and get excited about relocating to the great state of Texas. Myth number 1, Texas is miles of vast wasteland of nothing to do and nowhere to go. Well, if you're moving to Texas, you're probably moving to one of 4 cities: Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. Each of our 4 cities is riddled with sophistication, museums, science, arts. If you want to do academia things, there's plenty to do. If you're more the outdoor things, there's so much to do in nature. We also have professional sports, if that's your thing. Our cities have professional football teams, and we're in Texas, so football is king, followed by basketball, baseball. Then we also have soccer, and we also have hockey and a number of other professional teams. Austin does not have the football, baseball, and the other sports. Austin does have professional soccer team. Well, let's just start with Austin. Austin is our state capital, and the one thing you will hear if you live in Austin, if you relocate there, is one of the slogans is keep Austin weird. Now, I've lived in Austin many years, went to the University of Texas, and what I can say is Austin is passionate about preserving nature. There are beautiful lakes in Austin and around Austin where people enjoy kayaking, sailing, canoeing, all kind of water sports on the lake. The lakes are clear, they're beautiful. And they also promote in Austin just a natural, healthy lifestyle. So whether you're on the water or just walking around the water and getting your exercise in that way, Austin really encourages that. Austin is known for this music. They have their annual music festival that's known globally. And there's also Mount Bunnell. So you got to try Mount Bunnell. So Mount Bunnell gives you, once you climb to the top, all right, I don't want to scare you. So you can drive around Mount Bunnell, but there is a point where you have to get out and climb to the top. So once you get to the top, you are going to see breathtaking views, just, and amazing views of Austin, its lakes, and many beautiful sightings around it. You are going to be with nature, and it is one of the things that you're going to put on your bucket list of things to do when you relocate to Texas. Now, people in Austin can be a little batty. Are you ready for this? In Austin, you're going to see around dusk people hovering and gathering around the bridge, Congress Bridge. Now, whether they're standing around, some people will have boats. Some people will have chartered boats for this one amazing event. So what you will start to hear around dusk is a high-pitched sound, fluttering of wings, and what you will see are hundreds and thousands of bats converging from underneath the bridge and dispersing, and Lord only knows where they go. But they fill the night sky for many minutes, I would say a couple of hours. That is a sight to see. All right, you're going to add that to your bucket list too. About an hour and a half from Austin, we're going to go to our next spot, which is San Antonio. San Antonio has a rich Spanish history and culture and influence. We have the Alamo there, and there's also the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk is where you're going to be able to relax, enjoy shopping and dining, whether you decide to walk the river or if you decide to take a boat. It really feels more like a canal, but it's such a relaxing boat ride, and it's also romantic. The next place we're going to go to is Houston. Houston is our largest city in the state. And when you speak to a Houstonian, they're going to tell you that on the 8th day, God created Houston. They're very proud of their shops, their dining. They're so proud of their city. That's another myth. But what is not a myth, what is true, that they're about 50 miles from the Gulf. So they're about 50 miles from Galveston, which is one of our beaches in Texas. And that is where you can get your fresh seafood, and you can also sail from one of the ports to the Caribbean from Galveston. And the next city, the best of the best, is Dallas. So whether you live in Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, or Austin, you're going to want to travel to visit all of these cities. And during your travel, you will notice a billboard. And on this billboard, you'll see this big beaver and the word Buc-ee's. You're not to ignore that billboard. You're going to want to stop at the next Buc-ee's, and there's several on the way. Get out. You're going to notice bays and rows of gasoline pumps. Once you go inside, you're going to stand in amazement of what you see. A plethora of fudge, flavor after flavor after flavor, rows and rows of candy and chips and snacks. And then you're going to see food. They have chopped barbecue. Now, we in Texas, we're very particular about a barbecue, but they do have barbecue there if you want to sample it. And then the impeccable restrooms. Buc-ee's is like an adult playground. You have not lived life until you stop and experience a Buc-ee's. Myth number 2, Texas is part of the good old South, but we are not. If you look at a map, Texas is one of the southernmost states, but it is southwest. So we're not part of the South. But even though we're not part of the South, we do have our southern charms and our ways. And this is really important segment that you want to hear because it's going to help you enjoy Texas once you get here. Now, we are very polite. We will say please and thank you. We will say yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Now, those are not terms that we use to give reverential respect. We say that out of politeness. It doesn't matter your age. We'll still say yes, ma'am, yes, sir. It's not a sign of being submissive to you. So if you were to speak to us in any kind of condescending way because we said sir or ma'am, you'll quickly learn that, that was not the intent. That was not your invitation to be critical of us Texans. The other thing is, yes, we are a conservative state. We love our sweet tea and our lemonade. You know what? This is so important. I want you to grab pen and paper. You're going to want to write these things down. If you should encounter these conversations, you want to be able to interpret them. So if someone says, oh, Lord, have mercy, or bless your heart, that is not the time to hold hands, bow your head, and close your eyes in prayer. We're not praying for you. We're talking about you. There is something that you said or some type of situation that is rather questionable. Now, if someone says, God bless, that's a good thing. You're going to like that. That's a polite thing. They really are extending a kind gesture to you. If you were to hear, excuse me, pardon me, or I beg your pardon, that is not a request for clarity. That is your opportunity to rethink something you've just said or something you've just done. Now, here is something that's very, very important. The etiquette, the art of entering a building. If someone is kind enough to open the door for you and allow you and your party of 6 to go through the door, the polite thing for you to do is say thank you. These people don't necessarily work for the venue or the business. They're not a valet. They're just showing act of kindness. Now, even if they do work there, it's still polite to say thank you. Now, lean in, this is very important. If there's a second set of doors, you are to open those doors, stand aside, and allow the person who was so kind to you to go through the door. So you and your party of 6, you should wait and allow the person who was kind to you go through those doors. They will say thank you. Now, never ever go through those second set of doors and just allow the door to shut in the face of the person who held that first door open for you, because you will quickly learn that you have made a terrible mistake. Myth number 3, it is hot in Texas. Well, that's not a myth, that's true. In Texas, we have 3 seasons. We have cold, comfortable, and cruel. Our cold seasons, well, they're pretty short-lived. I would say it's around December 24th, 25th, so you can still see people in tank tops, flip-flops, and shorts, even during Christmas holidays. But for some reason, toward the end of December, close to New Year's Eve, that's when the weather changes. That's when we could have ice. So anytime between New Year's Eve and mid to late February, our weather is very unpredictable. We can even have snow flurries, and when we have a snow flurry, that's pretty special. We're more likely to see ice than we are snow. Our comfortable seasons, well, that's between September and November, and then it picks up again between March and end of June. Our cruel season, that starts July. We're talking triple digits. August, well, that's unbearable. That's when you start to see mirage and visions. I picked up someone from the airport, flew in from New York, was not accustomed to our climate. So they are, milling around. They're in the airport and they see people beyond the sliding doors outside, and they seem to just be going about their day. When those double doors slid open from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport and they crossed over into the outside air, they told me it was like they walked into a furnace. I'm like, yeah? Well, welcome to Texas. Now, one word of caution, word to the wise. You will want to have your AC checked, maintained, top-notch condition in your car as well as in your home. It is a non-negotiable. If you're not accustomed to our Texas weather, our hot weather, and you think, I'll get around to it, I'll open a window, turn on the ceiling fan, it'll be all good. Well, it won't. Because what you've just done is you're circulating hot air and you've created yourself a convection oven that you're living in. So trust me, get your AC checked and maintained. Myth number 4, the education system in Texas, well, it's inferior. That might be true of one of our neighboring states, but Texas, we have a stellar reputation for our education systems. We rank number 3 in the number of colleges that we have here in Texas, and number 5 for the top ranked elite universities in the country. Many people move to Texas for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is that we don't have a state income tax, which makes living here very affordable. The cost of living is typically affordable for many, many people. We also attract global industry. Many companies come here because of the tax benefits, and that might be one of the reasons you're relocating to our great state. Now that you've just gotten a snapshot of our major cities in Texas, your good news just got better. You just got the word that you are relocating to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And during your research, you notice that's a pretty big area with a lot of options. So you're thinking, should I move to the Dallas part of the Metroplex or the Fort Worth part of the Metroplex? If you're thinking about the Dallas sector of DFW, you might be looking at some of the suburbs north of Dallas, which will be Plano, Prosper, Frisco, McKinney. Then you think to yourself, there has to be another option. And there is. You're going to want to check out one of our suburbs north of Fort Worth, one of our cities like Keller, Grapevine, Colleyville, South Lake, West Lake, North Fort Worth, Roanoke, Trophy Club, and Hazlitt. And I have a video that covers those different cities that will help you decide which one is the best fit for you. I help people like you relocate to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I realize that moving to an area, that's the easy part. But deciding where to live, which area is best for your lifestyle, not so easy. Call me, text me, send me a message, and I want to help you find which area in our Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is the place for you to call home. I'm Tracy Sorrell. If this is the first time to this channel, subscribe below, press the bell, and you'll be notified of what's going down around town as soon as something thrilling and exciting happens in our Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.